to hop on this call. I hope everyone, so I know we are in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and there were 8 tornadoes in this area last night. So I hope that everyone is being safe. Um, hey,
Good morning.
good morning. I
How
guess
are
it's
you guys?
technically, we're good. I was just saying that I hope everyone's being safe. And I know 60,000 people in Chattanooga are without power right now. And
I know.
we had some flash
It's really
flooding in
scary.
our area, but we know plenty of people that their homes were damaged by the tornadoes. So,
I know. I know.
whew,
Hard enough, right? Right?
I know. It's
We
like,
got enough
stay
going
home. By
on.
the way, stay home. By the way, you now have no electricity. It's like all those situations. But, um, so yeah, some people have brought some food to our fridge and that kind of stuff. We have a fridge in the garage that is
Oh, that's good.
filling up. So,
Well, I think with everything going on, we realize that whether it's remote or not, we're all in this together and we got to help each other out together. I spent
mm-hmm.
the morning sending out texts to make sure that everybody at work was fine and the hospital was open because East Brainerd was hit pretty hard.
Yeah, and
Um,
Gun Barrel, from what I understand too, where your
yes,
hospital is.
yeah, yeah. So I was very happy that our hospital is safe because goodness gracious, that's the last thing I want.
Mm-hmm.
So you ready
Um,
to get started?
let's do it.
Okay. So what questions have you had this week? I have questions. Any specific questions that you have gotten?
No, so I sent you that one. I actually only received one question this week, and it was talking about that
Yeah,
one
I
sent
did
out.
receive that,
Yep,
but I
yep.
wanted to know if there was anything you wanted
Oh,
to
like
add before we
personally.
go. Anything you wanted to
Um,
add first?
no, I think people are just trying to figure out how to go about. Um, I think people are realizing that this is going to last a while, right? I think that's happening
Yes.
right now. And so I think people are like, okay, well, I maybe was willing to put off my PT or, these visits for 2 or 3 weeks. I may not want to be putting them off for 8 weeks. And so just kind of making sure people know that I think there's more and more resources out there for telehealth as well. So that's
Hmm.
becoming more and more used. I know you do a lot of that, Dr. McClelland, as we
I've
mentioned. And
started doing more, and you know what? In some instances, it's great. In some instances, I still think people need to be seen in the office.
yeah, like you said, it depends what it is.
Hmm.
I just started doing telehealth myself, and that's up on our website. And same thing, this is physical therapy is not new to me, but doing telehealth is new. But I was really
Yes.
pleased. I've been really pleased so far about how being creative and talking through things and watching people move and how there's a lot that can be accomplished through that and education as
Hmm.
well. So
Oh,
just
yeah.
us all making the best we can with what we've got right now, basically.
Well, I think, the point you made, we don't know when this is going to end. And one of my thoughts that has kind of changed a little bit through this last week is yes, we need to hunker down. Yes, we need to socially distance. Yes, we do need to wash our hands. Yes, we need to avoid unnecessary um, things. But our health is still necessary. And
Yeah.
there's some things that I would say, oh, yeah, I can wait 2 weeks to deal with that. But no, not so much on 6 weeks.
Yeah.
One thing that people have talked about is contraception. I don't think that is something just to put off. It's like you can't put a pregnant woman off 6 months. I also don't want to put off contraception.
Yeah.
Um, and so I do think it's wise to be careful, mindful about social distancing, but also I want people to think about the fact that they could still have health issues.
Yeah.
And I read a report recently where somebody died because they had a heart attack. They knew the symptoms, they were just too afraid to go to the hospital. And
Mm.
really, especially in our areas, all the things that we've instituted in the hospital I still think it's safer. I feel safer going to the hospital than I do going to the grocery store.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because, you know, monitoring is done, people are careful. Um, so that was one of the things that I've really thought about this last week, is just encouraging people that things do stop and you still have to take care of yourself.
Yep.
Um, so there were a couple questions that I received. Um, One of them was about permanent sterilization, and a question about whether or not salpingectomy or tubal ligation is better. Salpingectomy just means remove the entire tube. Tubal ligation is where you either remove part of the tube or you burn part of the tube. Um, Probably the two most effective ways to prevent pregnancy would be to remove tubes or to remove part of the tube. There's other ways to tie tubes that are not as effective. Um, the other benefit from removing the whole tube is actually reducing the risk of ovarian cancer, because in the last 5 to 10 years, we've learned that things that we used to think, or cancer that we used to think came from the ovary, actually came from the tube. One of the challenges that we have had actually, though, is that even though removing the tube is recognized as a way to tie tubes, insurance doesn't always cover it.
Interesting. So, because I was going to say,
Yeah.
I know you tied my tubes.
Yeah, so this information is more, I said 5 to 10 years, but more in the last 5-ish years. But the biggest challenge we've had is insurance covering it, and even though it's a recognized way to tie tubes, so um, hopefully um, that decision will change with time. There's plenty of data to support it, so it's
Hmm.
not an area unknown.
So you would say that technically, removing the tube is more effective than tying, but that both are very effective and insurance covers tying better.
Well, you can remove a portion of the tube, and that's just as good, and insurance does cover that. There are ways to either burn the tube, there's little clips you can do. Um, they do not work as well. Um, One of the benefits of just removing part of the tube is that if anybody were to ever change their mind, then they could do a tubal reversal, and you can't do that if you remove the whole tube. But my
Yeah.
hope is people have thought through. One of the things I tell people is I want you to be 110% sure you want to tie
Hmm.
your tubes, not 95%.
Yeah.
So if somebody's asking me about tubal reversal, I'm like, yeah, don't tie your tubes.
So I'm going to share some information that when Brian and I were trying to decide what we were going to do, because we decided to stop with three, as you know, I remember being like, well, maybe you can get a vasectomy. And he was like, okay, well, I'm open to that. That's fine. And I said, because that can be reversed more easily, or it can be reversed. And he goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. I will do it, but there will be no reversal. He's like, if I do this, this is the only surgery that's going to happen. And I was like,
You know
well, then
what?
I might as well do my tubal because if I had a
I
C-section.
think I think that's wise. I think that's wise. Either do it, but don't do it and then be thinking about a reversal at the same time.
Yeah,
It
no. So
means
we
you're
were
not
like,
ready.
we were 130%. I mean, we're done.
Yeah.
So yeah,
No, well, that's good. I'm glad you're still feeling that way.
but that was part of the discussion. Was that so?
Another question I got was, if I'm having trouble nursing, what do I do? Um, I think that's an excellent question. A lot of women want to leave the hospital as soon as possible after they've had their baby, and I think that probably one of the most important things is to consider breastfeeding. The nurses are trained, postpartum nurses are trained, lactation consultants are present, so it's better to stay the full time and get the breastfeeding help than to go home. Now, breastfeeding help you still have options. Pediatricians are extremely helpful. Your own obstetrician is very helpful. Um, so there are ways, but I would rather you stay a little bit longer in the hospital, get the help you need, than go home too early and then have to come back out again. Um, that's another one of those situations is we want to be mindful of the repercussions. If we leave too early and have to come back, then we have not reduced exposure for you, and that's not what we want.
Well, I
Um,
think it's important to note too, just from my own experience, that I think I thought, since I nursed all three of my children, I think I thought with the second birth that like, oh, I know how to do this. But nursing a brand new newborn is a very different experience than what I did for like the majority of my nursing with my children, you know?
oh, you're
Um,
exactly right.
so
Exactly right.
it
So
felt like I was kind of learning all over again. I do think I caught on faster the second time, but the first couple of days, it kind of felt brand new again.
you do, most women will catch on faster, but it's still a new baby. And with their own personality, their own ability, some will breastfeed immediately, no problems, and some it takes a little bit of time. So it's much better to be able to troubleshoot in the hospital than to try to troubleshoot by yourself at 2 a.m. when you're already tired,
Mm.
because that's when troubleshooting has to occur. They usually will do what they're supposed to do at 9 a.m. unless they're not waking up. That's what you get. They're wide awake at 2 a.m. They're not at 9 a.m.
Ah,
Um, Another question that I got is one of the reasons for my comment earlier is I'm scared about delivering in a hospital. Is it safe? Will they limit the number of visitors I can have? I don't want to deliver without my husband. Um, the the hospital systems around here are working tirelessly to be prepared for an increased number of COVID patients. One of the benefits of observing what's happening in other places like New York City and LA is it allows us to prepare better. Um, I'm not saying prepare better than them because, that was brand new, but for us to prepare better for the resources that we have. So, for example, there are plans if the number of COVID patients increases dramatically. There are plans to use the old Alstrom building, and they can house 1,400 additional beds there. So all the behind the scenes work has really been able to protect places like labor and delivery. Labor and delivery has the same number of patients. Having COVID does not increase the number of our patients right now. We still know the resources we need. We know what equipment we need. We know the amount of staff that we need. Somebody even asked me recently if they had taken the ventilators out of the NICU for potential COVID patients. And the answer for that is no. We're not going to take a ventilator away from a baby who is on a ventilator. So I think that all the contingency plans that we have are really, really good. And unless something absolutely, unless the number of people increase beyond our wildest dreams, then I do feel like there has been a lot of cooperation. So bottom line is I still feel that labor and delivery is the safest place to deliver your baby. That is the lowest place for infant mortality is to deliver in the hospital. And there's also no plan for reducing the number of people below one person. I am on the task force
what
for
does that mean?
Erlanger.
Sorry, Dr. McClelland. What does that
What?
mean? You mean that moms will be able to have one person with them in
Correct,
delivery? Okay.
correct, correct. Yeah. And, the American College of OBGYNs put a statement out saying the benefit of having partner or spouse. The governor of New York even put out a statement a couple of weeks ago that hospitals are not allowed to limit the number of support in labor to zero. So women definitely have it. Personally, after delivering babies for 20, 21 plus years, I can't imagine doing that because we really want that to be one of the best days of your life. I also think there's safety components to that too, is um, we really need for that person to be there for that woman's sake. So there is no plan to go less than one. Um, Now, as we know, I do want to make one small caveat is I feel good about saying that because the number of COVID patients in our area still remains very manageable. But
Mm.
I think that's because we all, hopefully, we're all recognizing our own responsibility, which is social distancing, washing hands, don't touch your face, etc. So if we all remain doing that, then we don't have to worry as much about our resources. I mean, we do need to be concerned, but we don't have to be worried that there's no resources.
Hmm. Now, are they limiting guests though? I believe they are, right? As far as so if someone has a
Um,
baby, they're not letting like my whole family came. You know what I mean? Like there was a ton of people, which that was 2 years ago. But
Yeah.
are they limiting
No, there's
visitors?
only one visitor during your entire hospitalization, and that is to protect the new mom, the baby, as well as the staff. Because the one thing we do want to remember is we may have all the equipment, but we don't want to take down the staff because we're not being mindful about people who have COVID. There is screening at the hospitals. They're screening at our office before people even step into the hospital. You know,
Which
we're
is great.
creative. Yeah, it's great, and I think it's wonderful. But we're also right. We want to remain creative, and you can use Zoom, you can use FaceTime. And most women are in the hospital 24 to 48 hours when the focus is on nursing and getting a little bit of rest anyway. So the potential benefit is the new mom can control the timing of communication. Because as I know for myself, it was that one time that I finally could close my eyes that somebody came in to say hello.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely. Absolutely. I love that earlier east where I delivered my kids, I know they also had like quiet hours. And that in
yes.
itself was very helpful because I knew there were at least a few hours in the middle of the day where no one could come bother me.
No, it's so important. It's so important because when you want to, you also want to be able to sleep at night, but you need to find time to sleep during the day as well. So I have seen a lot of women be very creative in managing this. And I've also seen women be very creative um, on having what they need afterwards, having those conversations. Who do I know that's going to quarantine and be extra careful about social distancing so that I have somebody available to me in my house
Yep.
close by. Um, I had a friend send me a picture of her daughter's freezer because she took my recommendation to heart on make lots of food. And her freezer was jam packed. And I was like, yay, that's what you
That's
need to do.
great. Yeah,
That's
that's
what
great.
you need to do.
And Dr. McCullen, once again, the recommendation, just want to make sure everyone understands. So if someone's going to have a baby and they want their mom to be able to come help after the baby's born and they come home, that mother should, or that person should quarantine for at least 14 days where they don't see anyone else, they don't go out, right?
So yeah, there with that, it's really following the CDC guidelines. So we know um, that if you're exposed to COVID, it can be up to 2 weeks before you show signs of the infection.
Mm-hmm.
And when you quarantine, then You can go to not seeing anybody, staying at least 6 feet away. Um, so it doesn't necessarily mean that you stay in your house and you don't see anybody at all. Um, but being very, very mindful that you are staying at least 6 feet away from people. Um, and you're pretty careful with that. Another interesting question that I had recently was related to the fact that I think we get very focused on pregnancy and labor delivery, and then we're like, yay, we're home, everything's fine. Babies can get sick. And so if we're relaxing the restrictions, then we're increasing the likelihood that the newborns will get sick. Now, you know, this is an evolving disease that 3 months ago we knew almost nothing about. Um, the good thing is there are not a ton of reports on babies being really, really sick. And with the number of people who have gotten COVID, if it was a big issue, we would probably see more. Um, and the reports that I have reviewed where babies have died, they have had underlying severe health issues.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Situations where even a common cold would be very high risk.
Yeah.
And so, at least around here, there's that any issue, at least around here, or reports in the United States. It seems that babies are less likely to get really sick. Now, they still need hospital admissions, and none of us want that right now.
Yeah. 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 Of course. Well, I told Brian, I've not seen anyone else. So of course I told Brian because, we're staying home. But um, we were talking about normally with our kids are in school and yada, yada, yada. Normally one of our kids is always sick. Like it's just like a chronic thing in our family. And I said the only upside to quarantining for us personally this past month is we have never had healthier children. It's true.
Yeah.
They're not able to catch anything because we're not going anywhere. So, but like you said, anything you can do to keep your kids' immune system healthy right now, which the biggest thing is staying home. So,
I was reading some interesting articles recently too. Is um, a discussion on the fact that people that are more likely to get sicker or die are people who have underlying health issues. Unfortunately, a lot of Americans do have heart disease. They're overweight. They have high blood pressure. They're on cholesterol meds. And so I think it's very sobering, very sobering. So I've been looking at articles about supporting your immune system, and the simple things that supporting your immune system, like sleep,
mm-hmm.
like exercise, like eating,
Hydration
hydration, like
as
eating
I
a
drink my
healthy,
coffee, but
yes, but eating a healthy, well balanced diet. Um, the what we talk about is eating the rainbow. Eat as much fruits and vegetables of as many colors as possible to help maintain the immune system. Um, and it's just a reminder of some very simple things to keep yourself healthier. 6 feet away, wash your hands, don't touch your face, which is hard to do.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Which is why you wear a
and,
mask if you
and
go.
eat healthy. And what I have found interesting is people who have worked on losing weight and have not been successful, who have told me that I cannot stop eating out, that I just can't do that. Well, guess what? We can. We can cook. Um, and we can get a little bit creative. I've been going through my recipes and reorganizing some of that, and especially being mindful on how can I continue doing some of that. So one of my personal challenges, every time I cook a meal, then I want a second meal out of it. And that's not just my leftover lunch for work the next day, but what can I make as a second meal? Because even if you make something, like if I made a pot of spaghetti here versus getting it out to dinner, my
Mm-hmm.
pot of spaghetti is still going to be healthier. There will be less sodium, less carbs. Um, if I'm not going to add sugar to my spaghetti, which is
Do people
done a lot.
really?
Um, oh yeah, oh
I
yeah,
didn't know about sugar and spaghetti.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
I know. So, so it's not that difficult to make some of these easier meals. Now, are they perfect? No, but sometimes I think looking for better is wise. Um, I heard a podcast a couple months ago where a woman said the 10 minutes of walking I did was better than the hour in the gym that I never did.
Yes, absolutely. Finding what works, is better than that hour of gym I never did. That's
I know.
great.
I was like, I didn't know who it was, but I was like, if I ever meet you, I'm just going to tell you now I love you. That's such a fabulous perspective.
Well, and I think it's just, yeah. So speaking about, I mean, I know that for me, so far with quarantine, I've not made the best food choices. Now, we try to support one local place a week just to keep our restaurants going. But for the most part, we're definitely cooking at home way more than normal. Um, but we also have been indulging in sweets and treats and just things like that that we normally don't do on a regular basis. I mean, you saw me making chocolate chip cookies for my kids. It's
Yeah.
like we're finding creative ways to keep things fun at home. That being said, today is my first day for the next couple of weeks where I'm like trying to cut out refined sugar and some of these things that not only are making me feel bogged down, but like you said, they're not great for our immune system either.
Right. Lots of
Um,
sugar is not great for your immune system. Now, I will tell you, you did inspire me because we have, my sister has helped my son make skillet chocolate chip cookies.
ooh, yum.
Yes.
Ooh,
Uh,
yes.
yeah. So I have the added benefit of having my sister here who's a great cook. Um, somebody to help me with ideas about cooking, which has been really nice.
That's wonderful. Yeah, that's awesome. I know I need
Oh, and
someone.
you know what else I've done? I'm teaching my son how to grill. So he's
Nice.
14, and I've been telling people to get their kids to do chores around the home, find
Mm-hmm.
that they enjoy, and I thought, what's better than a 14-year-old boy with an grilling?
That's awesome. I mean, even so, Mira's not even 5. She'll be 5 this week, but I went through both of them how to make a cheese quesadilla earlier this week because it's like one of their all-time favorite meals. And my older girl, Lily, who's 7, practiced slicing the bell peppers. And I mean, so we're starting to try some of that stuff here too, teach them life skills during this time where we're all at home.
It's interesting. I went to a camp last summer with my son, and one of the big things with this camp was preparing our children to go out into the world. And being able to clean after themselves, being able to do the laundry, being able to cook
Yeah.
uh, is huge. And if they've never seen a washing machine, um, what do you expect?
Yes. And I think for moms who have really littles, right now and have newborns or that kind of stuff, I think one of your points that you've made before is, I mean, even young children can start doing small tasks to help.
Oh, yeah.
And during a season where a lot of you moms feel overwhelmed, I know for me, it's trying to balance homeschool with Michael, um, but learning that like he just turned 2 and he's cleaning up his toys and he's carrying his plate to the sink and he's throwing away his trash. And those are all things that little kids can do to help you stay sane and to take something off your plate. And you're actually equipping your child too. So,
I know. And I think we have a tendency to think, oh, they're too young. Um, when I think, hey, you know what? Maybe they are too young, but try it out first because there's a very good chance that they are going to be able to do what you are asking them to do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, and
Well,
so, and
yeah,
you can make it fun. You can make it fun. Well, those were the
absolutely.
questions. Those were the questions that I had today, and also went over some stuff related to things that I have seen this week. Um, so I think my big take home today is yes, protect yourself, keep social distancing, wash your hands a billion times a day, don't touch your face. But if you are having health issues, um, hospitals, doctors' offices, they are safe. We are trying to stay as safe as possible. Now things may look a little bit different. Like in my office, we're not all there at the same time. We have staggered schedules so that we're not all sick.
Mm-hmm.
But we have really looked through all the ways to make sure that we are still helping people. And if somebody has a problem, they need to call and get it taken care of. So that's my encouragement today.
Yes, absolutely. So the stuff that can be done online, we do online, and the stuff that we can't, we see you.
I know, I know. It's
Sounds
crazy to
great.
think that somebody's one outing for a week is to come see me.
Oh, for real though it is. But you know what? When people do it that way, that just means that that becomes that much safer.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So that's
That's the
good.
goal, is trying to make it as safe as possible. And I really don't want to be sick because I want to be able to take care of people.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, if you guys do have any questions, remember you can reach out to Heal at Home Moms. You can direct message or you can email us at healathOmeMoms@gmail. And in the meantime, if you're in Chattanooga, you can reach Dr. McClelland at her office if you need either telehealth or an in-person visit.
Oh, you know
And
the other thing I was going to add? I'm
what?
sorry, I interrupted you.
That's okay.
This week we have created a specific page to try to give more information to pregnant women on our website. And so
Awesome.
I have the great questions that I've gotten from patients in the office. Every week we're updating that to try to answer questions as much as possible. So most of the things that we have discussed, you have written something about it on Heal at Home Moms, but also it's on the Galen website.
What's that actual website? I mean, do they just search Galen?
Um, that is good. I just searched it this morning to make sure that it was updated, and I just searched. I searched Galen Medical Group, and
Okay.
it came on. And if you click the COVID banner, then underneath it there's different sections, and there's a section for pregnant women.
Awesome. Okay. That's very helpful.
I think it's
And
galenmedical.com, but um, I should know that, shouldn't I?
well, so, but also, like you said, so often we search. So it can be Galen Medical, Chattanooga, Tennessee, and it would for sure come up. So
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
perfect.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's
Okay.
perfect. Well,
Thank you.
thank you for your time, and I hope your day goes well today.
You too. Take care.
Alrighty. See you next time.
Okay. Bye.